What's going on, fellow 40k theorists? Welcome back to the channel. You guys are watching Theory Hammer, and today we're going to be doing a continuation of our tips and tricks series. And what I'm going to show you guys today is different ways that you can move block things. So what I've done here is I've gone ahead and set up a little mock game for us. So I'm going to play this game out, and as I go through this, I'm going to show you guys different ways that you can move block your opponent from both sides. So we're going to be doing it from the Marine side, we're going to be doing it from the Tau side. You guys really seem to like the last video that I made about how to block out walls and stuff. Thank you. I didn't realize it was going to do so well, well considering for my channel anyway. So I'm going to make another video talking about how to actually move block that doesn't involve using the walls, because that's kind of a separate thing. So what we're going to do is just play right through this, and I'm going to show you guys the way that I use move blocking in almost every single game, because there's opportunities for it every single turn. Sometimes you don't want to do it, other times you have to do it. So we're going to go over that today. I'm going to show you guys some different scenarios of different things that you can do. I'm probably not going to be able to cover absolutely every possible scenario here because the game is a little bit too dynamic for something like that, but I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways that you can move block. Now, if you guys like this episode, which I hope you do, then thunderhammer that like and subscribe button, check out our other videos, leave a comment, hit the bell icon, do all the YouTube stuff. We do have a second channel as well that I'm just getting established, which isn't really a real channel. It's just where I play video games and get angry. So if you want to see me get upset at video games, go check that out. It is kind of funny. I laugh at myself as well. So we're going to start this right up. We're just going to move through the first turn here, and I'm going to show you guys some cool move blocking tricks. So we've got a Retaliation Cadre Tau list here, up against a Firestorm Assault Force Space Marine army. Admittedly, not the best army that I have that I could put down for Space Marines, but one that I really enjoy playing. I'm going to start it on up with the Tau, because the Tau actually won the roll-off for deployment, and we put our squad of Pathfinders right here specifically for this video so that I can show you how insanely useful a squad of infiltrating guys can be to totally jail your opponent. I'm going to roll an advance roll for this unit, I'm going to move them up, and I'm going to get in the way. Now, Pathfinders only move 7 inches, only. We're going to advance them this far, so they're going to be going 12 inches. They're starting here, and they're starting right on the line. They are, right 9 inches away from the deployment zone over there. With a 12-inch move, that was a pretty good advance, so we're going to be able to move just right up in front of these guys, and they're not going to be able to do a damn thing about it. Now, real quick before starting, I will mention that where these guys are positioned is not optimal. They probably shouldn't be on the objective, and these guys over here should probably be on this side, because if I was to lose the roll-off, they have a scout move as well, so they can just kind of scout this way and get behind the wall if these guys weren't over here. But I did this specifically for this example, just to spread them out as far as possible so that I can show you how this works. Alright, so this is where we move after 12 inches. Believe it or not, that was 12 inches from where they were. So, what do we see here? Well, we see that the Land Raider is blocked inside the wall now. It can move to here. That's basically it. This thing is also blocked. That was kind of just a bonus. I just deployed it there because it was out of line of sight and I wanted it to do something possibly. But it's now just stuck here. It can't go forward, backward. It can't go anywhere. It's just surrounded by guys. The gap here isn't big enough for it to fit through. It's going to come within an inch here. And again, the Land Raider, it is behind the wall, otherwise this unit would have been overwatched to death. But this is how you deploy. You don't put the Land Raider outside the terrain, because then the Riptides move up and shoot at it and do a bunch of damage to it. So this is the right move, to put the Land Raider behind the terrain so that it's not visible. The drawback there is that the Land Raider is not able to overwatch. Sure, this thing could overwatch, but it's not going to be consequential enough to stop this unit from doing what it's doing. And so what we see here is that this Land Raider is just stuck in place. It cannot move through this. It can move a little bit out to here, but it's going to be stuck there. And if it is stuck there, my Riptides are also going to be able to kill stuff, and they haven't even moved yet. So I'm going to move the rest of my army and just kind of show you guys where things end up. But this is the main point here, is that first turn, this squad just said, screw it, we're going to advance, and we're going to stop these Land Raiders from even being able to come out of the terrain. So this is where we end up. We didn't move too much stuff here because we don't really need to. None of the Riptides can actually see anything. None of the Piranhas, well, the Piranha can see stuff back there. But we just moved up and kind of staged for turn 2. Now, one thing I want to mention, because I've done this, because I've blocked the Land Raider in, and because I've blocked this thing in, I'm really not worried about my Riptide being where it is. In fact, I want him here. This Land Raider is out of range. If it moves up to this point and tries to shoot anything over here, its Melta might be in range. I got a 4-up invuln though, it needs force to wound me. It's not going to be within Melta range. I'm just not worried about this Riptide dying. And because I've jailed the Land Raiders and other things on this side of the table on turn 1, I'm going to get points for this objective on my turn 2. Now bringing you guys over to this side of the table, we did move this Piranha over here, and this is kind of what it looks like from this side of things. The Piranha might get some shots off on these scouts. These scouts probably shouldn't have been put here in the first place, but I just wanted to demonstrate some different move blocking techniques. Another thing that I've done here is something that I'll touch on in a little bit different video, but I've made it so that these stealth suits have positioned themselves so that the scouts cannot actually get onto the objective by going this direction. They have to go around this, probably charge it to get on there. Now I've done this in a way where the gaps between these bases, you can't actually fit onto the objective. And so if they try to come around and charge, they got to get all the way over to this side. It's not a perfect strategy, especially when you only have the 3 guys there, but when you have a bigger unit, like 5 or so, you can really start blocking off areas of the objectives that they literally can't be placed on them. And then if they charge you, and they're in base-to-base contact, sometimes they don't destroy the whole unit, and in that case, those models that are in base-to-base contact can't then pile in or consolidate. I can never remember which one's which. They cannot get onto the objective after they swing if you don't kill all the models in the unit. So again, that's a video for a different day, but that's what we've done here. So I figured I'd point it out while I'm doing this. Like I was saying, the deployment on the Space Marine side is about as good as it's going to get. Everything's hidden, it's in good spots. We just didn't expect to go second and have an entire squad of guys get in our way. So this is what we've got at the end of the Space Marines turn 1. This squad was obviously just deleted from existence, but we did do a little bit of move blocking over here. What I've done here is a twofold strategy. The Riptide moves 10 inches. 10 inches puts it about right here, which is within an inch. So if this thing wants to get over onto the objective and be able to see the Land Raider, it's not going to be able to unless it maybe comes down this way, which it can probably get line of sight there. Importantly though, it's not getting onto the objective unless it advances, and it's got to get at least a 2, I'm pretty sure, because I don't think even an inch would put me outside of an inch. 10 inches is like right there, so I need to be just a little further. So, it needs to advance in order to get onto this objective. This Riptide does not want to advance. It wants to move normally so that it can then shoot at the Land Raider that poked its head out. One thing I'll mention about these Land Raiders real quick, they did poke their heads out on purpose. I know these Riptides are going to be able to get some shots on me. I know things can deep strike within 3 inches, which is another reason why those scouts did not come out yet. That being the case though, if they do deep strike within 3 inches, I get an overwatch. So tactics for another video there. This is what I really wanted to show you. These scouts said, you know what, we're just going to block you off. You know, our little out of coherence there, I fixed it. Same deal though, it can't land here, and that's the problem. This Riptide can go to here, or it can go to here, or down to here, but it's not getting onto this objective. All right, and so this is where the Tau end up on their second turn. There's a lot going on here, so let me just run you through each and every aspect. Now the first thing that we've done over here is we've moved our Piranhas up to create a wall. This Land Raider had a choice. It could either overwatch this Piranha so that it could then move over or through this, because it's allowed to be able to get over here to get to the Riptide, or it can overwatch against this unit that deep struck. Regardless of which one it chooses, this Land Raider is staying basically where it is. Let's just assume it flame storms this entire unit off the table. It's really not going anywhere. The gap between this distance is going to make it so that the Land Raider has to get within an inch of this. It can't do that, and so it's just not allowed to go this way. Now it can go around, but there's stuff in the way. If this whole unit died, it can end up about here, still behind the wall. It's out of range of the Riptide. If it tries to go straight up this way to this objective to try to get to this Riptide, which moved back just a little bit off of the objective, it's out of range from its flame storms at least, because 12 inches is a little bit further from being an inch away from this guy. So this Land Raider's in a pickle here. It doesn't know what it wants to do because it's kind of just boxed in. It can't move forward. It can't really move up. It can move up a little bit, but it doesn't really have an impact because it's not going to be able to get those Flamestorm cannons over onto the targets that it wants to get them on. Now, assuming this Land Raider decided to overwatch this thing, let's just assume it destroyed it. No big deal. That's gone. Now we've got these two things, and we can do our shooting phase and do some cool stuff, but this detachment has Fire and Fade. It's called Torch Star Gambit. So if they decided not to overwatch this squad, which they would have overwatched this, but if they had decided not to overwatch this, I can then move this unit after it shoots. Let's see where they end up. After our 12-inch move from a Torchstar Gambit stratagem, this is where we're going to end up with this squad of suits. And again, that's assuming they decided to overwatch the Piranha, which they wouldn't do. But in this scenario, maybe I had 2 units come down, maybe they overwatched a different one. This unit is now just in the way. This Land Raider still can't go anywhere because this guy is in the way. It can't go through this because it's too small. This Land Raider's in the same boat. It's about 6 inches. It's a little bit more than 6 inches from end to end. This guy is just under 7 inches away. So if it tries to go down slightly, because there's a little bit of a gap here, but if it tries to go down and through, it comes within an inch of this guy and it has to stop in place before it gets within an inch of this thing. So this Land Raider cannot move. This Land Raider cannot move. Now obviously this unit is definitely going to die in the Space Marine's turn, but the point is they're not moving. Moving is how you win the game, because if they can't move, they can't get onto objectives, and I'm going to score more points than them. They can destroy the stuff all day long, but if they're not getting points, they're not going to win the game. Now, because we are playing against a faction that does have a 3-inch deep strike, I'm going to show you guys one more little trick, which isn't really a movement trick, but it's an objective securing trick. And so here we have our same squad of scouts. We're just going to go to the Space Marine's turn. We're going to assume that this shot everything into the Land Raider. We're going to assume those shot everything into that Land Raider. They probably rolled really bad and they didn't destroy either of them, which is why they're still on the table. I'm actually not rolling it out, but I'm just, again, this is just a demonstration of move blocking. So let's assume these scouts live. These scouts are going to advance because they don't have anything better to do. And they're going to go onto this point because this is what I want to show you guys. So we're going to put 3 of these guys on the point. You have to do it this way. You must, because with a 3-inch deep strike, if you only put 1 guy on the point is bigger than the guy's base, and so they'll be just about here within 3 inches. So you've got to make sure you have enough guys on the center of the point so that they can't actually deep strike on it. The rest of these guys don't really matter too much. Maybe we do something like that. In fact, maybe we do something like this, kind of spread them out just a little bit more. This is also a viable strategy to kind of put them on the outside of the objective. That's fine too. But I kind of want to just block this Riptide off from being able to do anything real cool. But what's going to happen next turn is these guys are going to jump off when it comes to the Space Marine's turn. They get to move, kind of. They get to shoot some stuff, which is going to be that unit, which they probably would have overwatched. And then this unit's going to hop off the table because they have the Starflare ignition system. So they're going to pop off, and I want to bring them down within 3 inches, and I can't because these guys were smart, and they surrounded the point itself, and they bubbled me out from 3 inches. So that's something that you can do if people do have 3-inch deep striking stuff. Just surround the point, or if you've got somebody like this guy, lieutenant with a combi weapon, his base is supposed to be exactly the size of an objective marker. They are the same millimeter diameter. So if you did have a base size of a Terminator, you could stick them on the point. These aren't the best objective markers that we made, but you can stick them on the point. That will also technically do it. I know it doesn't look like it because it's painted on here, but the actual mathematics of this, if the base size is the same, you would have to be just over 3 inches away. So you'd be, 0.00001 inch away from the objective, which means that you're not on it. And so I think that covers a pretty big variety of scenarios here. You have things like this that can just get in the way of things like this. You have to make sure that you measure their movement though. This Riptide moves 10 inches, so I'm like, okay, well if you move 10 inches, the back of your base ends up on top of me, and I'm blocking you out at that point. So you've got to at least look and measure those kinds of things. But these are some of the examples of ways that you can move block your opponent, and as you can tell just from me demonstrating this army just kind of got fucked. I wasn't expecting it to be this bad, but that's just kind of how it turned out. And this is what you can do in games, especially if you have a lot of mobility, if your army just has a lot of mobility, things like Tau or Eldar, Dark Eldar, things that have a lot of very fast units. This is how you win the game. You win the game by move blocking your opponent. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed the second episode of the Tips and Tricks series. If you did, then you know what to do. Thunderhammer that like and subscribe button. Check out our other videos, hit Nurgle's bell, leave a comment, check out our other channel as well. That almost rhymed. And tell me what you guys think down in the comments, like I said. Is this something that you guys do often? Is this something that's new to you guys? Is this something that you're trying to get better at doing? Because I like to use move blocking as much as I can because it's the only thing in the game that you have any agency over. Everything in this game is random. Like, practically everything at this point is random. So being able to move block your opponent, it gives you some agency over the game, and you can do some pretty messed up things like this, where you can have land raiders just stuck in their deployment zone for 2 turns. Now granted, I went first with the Tau, I had some things going on here for the demonstration, but I've done this in game. I should have done this in the battle report with Justin, where I had a squad come down. It came down about here, and I decided to move it backward because I was listening to him, and I thought, okay, well, maybe he won't roll a perfect advance and get into combat, but he ended up doing that, and I forgot that these could fall back and shoot. It was just a bad game for me. Bad game. Go check it out. I'm very upset at myself at the end. I'm literally like, all right, let me put these models back on the table and figure out what I would have done. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit all the buttons, do all the YouTube stuff, check out the second channel. Theory hard for the greater good, and I'll see you guys next time.